Hello everyone, this is Vanillabean bringing you another Vanillabean flavored review. This week's anime is Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions, otherwise known as Chunibyo Demo Koi ga Shitai, both seasons 1 and 2. The second season adding Heartthrob to the title, or Ren, but everyone simply refers to it as Chunibyo. And who can blame them? The game playing in the background is South Park: The Stick of Truth, developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Ubisoft. I'm continuing the theme of playing games with similar themes or aspects with the anime that is being reviewed. In this case, both have kids LARPing, or role-playing. I'll avoid major spoilers, both from the game and the anime. Fantastic game, by the way, but definitely one for fans of the show. Excuse me if there's something off about my voice. I'm a little sick, but I am too stubborn to not get another one of these videos out. My hobby for video editing craves more! Chunibyo is based on the original light novel and is produced by Kyoto Animation. Kyoto Animation has worked on a lot of known romantic comedy and slice-of-life anime, some of which I'll list. K-On!, Clannad, Lucky Star, Free, Nichijou, and more. The directors of Chunibyo have also worked on the anime I've listed. Some of their productions have been good, some vastly overrated, I feel. But everything Kyoto Animation has worked on has been pretty decent, at the very least. Like most romantic comedies these days, the story is centered around high school kids. More particularly, it is about a high school boy named Yuta Togashi, who had Chunibyo back in middle school. To clarify, Chunibyo is this sort of Japanese internet culture thing, a term, to describe 8th grader syndrome, where basically one has a hyperactive imagination and loves to roleplay, seemingly having delusions of grandeur. Yuta is not proud of this and wishes to leave that dark history of his behind, and the first step was to go to a separate high school. But his dark past comes back to haunt him, as he encounters a girl named Rika Takanashi, who still has Chunibyo. One thing I must point out is that while the anime is certainly based on the original light novel, it does take the story in its own direction. Events happening differently, characters acting differently, even going as far as introducing its own original characters for the anime. I'll discuss that issue in a bit. Now, moving on. So as the anime progresses, you'll see this Chunibyo enacted in full force by several people. Now, I thought I was pretty delusional or hyperactive with my imagination when I was a kid, but watching the characters of this show duke it out in imaginary epic battles that are animated, by the way, then occasionally seeing them through the perspective of a normal person, it puts me to shame.
Those battle scenes are really insane. Environmental backdrops will come out of nowhere. Buildings will grow from the sky. Spells that wreak havoc and destruction on the scale of DBZ proportions. That's some pretty dedicated Chunibyo right there.
But it is a hilarious sight to behold. Speaking of which, the characters. Yuta is the responsible type that desperately wants to get away from his dark past persona, the Dark Flame Master. Rika is the adorable yet clumsy type who insists she possesses a wicked eye of an evil king, or something along those lines. Next, we have Sanai Dekamori, a junior high school girl with Chunibyo, who claims to be a servant of Rika and possesses the power of Mjolnir, which is really a pair of her elastic hair nunchuck things. We have the popular girl Shinka Nibutani, who also happens to have a dark past she wishes to separate from. We have the carefree girl Kumin Suyuri, who is always really sleepy. And plenty of other characters are introduced later down the line. These happen to be the ones the anime centers itself around. Now, as previously mentioned, the anime takes the story in its own hands. I've never read the novel, but supposedly characters like Sanai and Kumi never existed in the original. Events happen differently. I can understand why someone would be a little upset about that if they read the original. I'm biased no matter what I say, but I'll say this anyway. I think it's fine given that it still follows key things. I haven't read the original, but I can only imagine that the anime still follows the novel's key points and themes. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are cases where an adaptation of an original work can still be enjoyable, i.e. Harry Potter. Some cases the adaptation is screwed up. If it is, and you happen to have read Chunibyo, then I can't blame you if you would be dissatisfied. Although I can't imagine too many of you have read the light novel, like myself, to even be upset. I guess it comes down to your perspective. Moving on. The art style is typical K-on-esque, as I like to call it. For those of you who don't know and happen to live under a rock, devoid of anime, K-on seems to have popularized this art style, being the successful anime it was. It seems a lot of rom-coms are taking on this style. Or is it just Kyoto Animation? It might be just Kyoto Animation, actually. I'd have to look more into that. So, with this art style, the anime attempts to kawaii ugufai expressions. It's cutesy. It may bother some, it may not. But the whimsically animated imaginary epic battle scenes kinda make up for that. The music is lighthearted and comedic, befitting the anime. It even has befitting music for its battle scenes, further trying to convince the audience that it feels or looks real and convincing, but we all know it is not. Not much else to say. The story isn't anything grand or impressive, but it is very entertaining and funny to watch. It's all about the events surrounding these characters, and the kinds of shenanigans they end up in. Although it's a rom-com, the comedy is the emphasis, and every now and then there's a bit of drama. And at least it's not another damn harem. Although I will say this, I believe the second season emphasizes on romance a little more than the first season. But yeah, nothing grand, impressive. But if I were to get deeper, I could say that the story is also about growing up. What is your perspective on growing up? Does it mean to outgrow anything that is seen as childish by society? Does it mean to be true to oneself? Does it mean being a master at hula hoops? Who knows? Actually, it might very well be a tale about growing up. Or what it means to grow up. Or maybe it'll dig up those feelings of you wanting to LARP. Come on, I know you want to. The anime is definitely worth a try. It may or may not fulfill everyone's appetite depending on their expectations of a rom-com, but at the very least it's still fun to watch. I believe the main selling points are the events that occur around these characters, their interactions with each other, and their absurd but hilarious LARPing. Oh, and their way of butchering the English language. That's always fun. It's sweet. It's adorable. And it's all a bunch of crazy fun. Want to watch Chunibyo in high quality with crisp, clear, readable subtitles? You can check both seasons out on Crunchyroll.com. Well, this has been Vanillabean. Having given you a short and sweet review on Chunibyo. Until then, I'll see you later.
Halt! None shall cross into Canada without... Oh, never mind. I've seen your passport.
Vanishment this world!